Generally, people expected because of US elections during November this month and October November, that markets will go down, and everyone was expecting that. I mean, that is the market sentiment or talk, TV talks, paper, everything. So if Democrat comes or whatever it is. So finally, they expected market to go down, but unexpectedly, market is going up and reaching all-time high. So now now where are we looking at? Is it still a good time, or these good times are going to continue? The Nifty PE is approximately 35 plus, price to book 3.66, whatever. So all those things. So these values, now people are expecting again a correction. They are saying, investors, I mean, another 10% might come down. So I'm waiting. So generally, I want to pick your thoughts, how to approach for the investors, and where are we, and what is the market overall, like a market scenario kind of thing, snapshot.
Sure. Yeah, so let's try and address that in two parts. First, let's talk about this thing of expectations about what will happen in the election. See, in my career, and I've been in the market actively from 1994, is what I would say. I have seen this belief about people having some idea about what the market will do during an election several times, both in India as well as in US. And every time the market eventually ends up surprising you one way or the other. But for some reason, people believe that they have crystal clear ability to forecast these things. I realized many years ago, particularly after the, if you remember the 1996 election, when the government led by Narasimha Rao lost, and there was a united front government, and everything that we heard, we were told it's a coalition government, it will be so unstable, market is finished. And then surprisingly, they delivered some unexpected reforms in the budget, and before we knew it, the market had gone up dramatically. So I took a decision many years ago that it is best not to take investment decisions based on what will happen in an election, because first of all, you don't know what will happen in the election. Secondly, even if you know what will happen in the election, you don't know how the market will eventually react to it. So given that both are uncertain, it is best not to take decisions on that basis. So, I never expect either market to come down or go up because of an election, and we never try to judge what it might do. And that is the strategy I would recommend to everybody. Just to give you a simple point over here, my portfolio turnover ratio, I'm talking about the fund that I manage directly, which is Value Opportunities Fund. 1 year ago, the portfolio turnover ratio was 30%. Today, it is 25%. We had an India election, we had a US election, we had COVID. My portfolio turnover has stayed in 25 to 30%. What that tells you is that when you think long term and you prepare for things that can go wrong, then you don't have to react to that and keep trying to change things. So that is one part of what you asked. Second part, which is valuations. Now, this is obviously a far more challenging issue today, without doubt. I normally tend to look at two metrics. Where is the trailing PE multiple? Where is the price to book multiple? And secondly, how do equities compare relative to bonds? Now, the trailing PE multiple actually became nonsense because of the lockdown. Because companies had to shut down, you were not getting any earnings. So trailing PE multiple at this point of time, we had stopped looking at. Main indicator we were looking at was price to book. Because of the sharp rally which has happened, particularly in this early part of November, I think as of today when we speak, it's up more than 10% in November itself. The price to book multiple for the first time has actually gone out of the fair value zone and just entered what we could call the expensive zone. The PE multiple, I am not looking at too closely for the reasons that I said. When you look at the earnings which are impacted by a lockdown, which is most probably a once in 100-year event, then the PE multiple will not give you the right indicator. But the price to book is also telling you that today, for the first time, equities have become slightly expensive, not comparable to previous peaks, but slightly expensive. When you compare bond yields to equities, again, you're looking at an earnings related metric. It is still slightly in, so I would say, sort of neutral territory. So net net, my approach towards equities is that whatever is your asset allocation plan, continue with that. This is not the valuation at which you would try to raise your equity allocation. The time for raising equity allocation happens only when valuations are very, very cheap, right? That was cheap in March, it was cheap in April. Frankly, even I would say till September, you were still in fair value and you could have made an argument to increase allocation to equity. Today, there is no reason to raise allocation to equity, but I would say still have some medium-term plan, whether it is a SIP or whether it is through some systematic transfers over a 6-month, 12-month period. Have a plan and allocate on that basis. Don't try to take an aggressive decision today. The valuations don't give you the, are not favorable for taking that decision.
Okay. Stick to the asset allocation. That's what you are saying right now, and
Yeah.
slightly in the expensive zone. So
yeah.
then, having said that, say like if in the next 3 years or 5 years, do you expect any big bull rally kind of thing? Index doubling from here. Do you see any kind of signs for that?
Yes, this is almost like $1 million question, and this question cannot be answered. I have spent, as I said, now almost 6 years in the market. In 26 years, I have never been able to answer this question as to will it double in the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It happens when you don't expect it. But it also happens when markets are very, very cheap, right? Maybe 3 years from now, when you look at the bottom which happened in March, you may find that the markets have surprised you in terms of the returns. But from today's level, I think that would be a challenge. Let me make one more point over here. We have just got the results for the September quarter. The results were much better than expected. In fact, for the first time after the earnings season got over, actually the consensus numbers started to go up. This has not happened for some time. Typically, earnings come and everybody ends up cutting the earnings. So I think clearly the rebound in the economy has surprised. The extent to which companies have benefited from lower cost and less competition has also surprised. And that is why earnings have come in positive. FY22 should be a very strong year for earnings growth. But to really see the market do whatever, if you want to call it a bull market, though I don't like to use that label, you need two things. You need valuation support and you need earnings growth. At this point of time, we are not yet sure that we are at the start of a multi-year earnings cycle. The historical trend of earnings growth for many years, I would say the last decade in India, has been closer to single digit. Unlike the period 2002-2010, where the CAGR was, a high double digit, it was almost 17-18% CAGR. It is not clear that we have entered that kind of a period right now.